Good. Robert?
Yep.
The time is 7:02 p.m. I'd like to call to order the public hearing for case Z24003, map amendment for 9267 Mitchell DeWitt Road. Roll call, please.
Mr. Adler?
Present.
Ms. Davis?
Present.
Mr. Pratt?
Present.
Mr. Snowden, would you like to give a brief presentation summarizing the application?
Yes, sir.
Please.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. This was an application that was submitted to the Township Zoning Department earlier this year, requesting to rezone approximately 7 acres south side of Mitchell DeWitt Road. You will see that from the map in front of you, it's actually at the rear of this farm, which is owned by Mitchell Family Farms. This is the existing farmstead and the berry barn, as they call it. But this same owner or group of family of owners owns these parcels here. The request is to rezone the property from rural residential district and commerce district to commerce district. When the applicant submitted the application, because of the small size of the parcel, they may not have caught on that there was a small sliver of the property that was actually already zoned commerce district. The reason for that is because this lot line has been relocated since the rezoning of this parcel in 1997. In short, that's really a technicality. If the board would approve this zoning amendment, the entire parcel or the entire tract shown inside of blue and further described in the legal description in the case would be zoned commerce district. So again, it's rezoning a small portion from commerce to commerce. To the north, there are single-family dwellings. The purple is the Mitchell Crossing development, zone plan development district. To the west of the site, there's a field in the same general family ownership that is also zoned commerce district. The site to the west is used for agriculture. Here, there are also some single-family dwellings. Those are zoned RU district. You're going to have a really hard time seeing this, so bear with me here. It might be better if you reviewed LUC's plan. The site is, recommendation. The site is right here. The township's future land use plan calls for flex office light industry zoning, uses. That is the land use typology that the commerce zoning district was designed to accommodate. Here you can see a better actual description of the land as it's proposed to be zoned. And here's the site. Obviously, it was a sunnier day when I took that photograph. This is the homestead as it exists now. This is looking generally to the west. Our office sent a copy of the case to LUC Regional Planning Commission as is required by law. LUC recommended approval. And you can see LUC's report and the recommendation of the Zoning and Subdivision Subcommittee and the Executive Committee of LUC attached to the back of your packet. Back on the 25th of last month, your Township Zoning Commission held a hearing. After presentations were made, the Zoning Commission voted for a recommendation of approval. It was a vote of 3-2 out of a 5-member commission. You can see how the commissioners voted there, annotated about 4 or 5 pages back in your packet. But again, per the zoning regulations, that was considered a vote recommendation of approval per the zoning resolution and construct. My office recommended approval, again, based on the purposes of the Commerce District, the land use plan's recommendation. And a final note, there is a memo in the case file which we provided to you, but it's not in the packet that I provided this evening. It does say that the engineer's office normally or many times requires traffic studies, did not specifically require one in this case because it's there. It's our understanding, my understanding and their understanding, that if this rezoning is approved, this area, ooh, can't see my mouse, this area here, the tract that's subject to this rezoning will be connected with this parcel, and therefore any development that goes on will have to follow the engineer's process for its development of the site as a whole. So that's their position, and again, it makes sense based on my understanding of the project. So with that, I'd be happy to answer any questions. Otherwise, I'd be happy to turn things back over to our chair, Mr. Adler.
Any questions from the trustees for Mr. Snowden? Would the applicant like to come forward and make a presentation, please? Please state your name and address when you come to the podium.
Good evening. My name is Brian Fowler, and I reside at 408 Willow Hollow Drive, Columbus, Ohio. I work for Advanced Design in Ohio as a professional engineer representing my client today. I want to start by thanking you for your time and nice application. Kind of wanted to reiterate a couple of points that Mr. Snowden covered. The original tract was owned by the Mitchells was approximately 37 acres. The southern 7 acres was split with the following county procedures. Of that split, 5.51 acres is currently residential. The zoning boundary doesn't exactly follow the split. You can see here a portion of the parcel is residential, portion is commerce district. This area kind of falls centrally located within the future land use plan, defined as employment. The employment area designated the township primary industrial and commercial corridor situated along Industrial Parkway to aim to provide long-term employment based for the community. Future land uses are intended to include flex industrial, data centers, medical offices, and research and development. The overall sector's goal is to promote land use to generate high-wage job growth in the township, enforce high-quality site development standards, protect and enhance the township's rural character, and maintain some sufficient landscape buffers, building setbacks to protect rural viewsheds. So, the intention of my client to rezone to the commerce district, thinking that this falls within the category of the vision of the employment sector. Access is being provided along Industrial Parkway to meet the Union County standards for traffic location, width, and distance from the adjacent access point. A left turn lane will be constructed as required to promote efficient movement along Industrial Parkway into the development. And the future intended use is a data center, which will provide a multitude of high-paying jobs within the township. The site further will meet or exceed all township zoning regulations, performance standards for light and sound mitigation through a zoning certificate application for review by the township zoning inspector to ensure emphasis is placed on maintaining buffering and rural viewsheds of the area. Hopefully you'll set this application for its alignment with the employment area of the future land use plan and the long-term employment base and fiscal sustainability. Thank you for your time. I'm willing to answer any questions that I'm able.
Questions? Just as a point of clarification, Mr. Snowden, it's my understanding that an application has not been yet made for any data center development plan has not been submitted, and that any changes in our zoning codes based on our comprehensive plan, rules and regulation changes in our zoning regulations would be applied at the time of their application. So in other words, if increased buffering is required, you would have to abide by that at the time of the actual permit.
What you stated is generally correct. This is a standard zoning district, so if the regulations in the zoning resolution for this district or for all uses generally or certain types of uses are amended between now and the time that an application for a zoning certificate is made for this site, they'll have to comply with the regulations at the time, not the regulations now.
Any other questions, comments for the applicant? Thank you for your time. We've got under public comments, Jeanette Harrington, would you please come forward, state your name and address.
Jeanette Harrington, 10235 Chippewa Road, So an application has not been made for the data centers yet, but that is what we assume is going to go in there, correct?
That's what the
That's
applicant
what
just
the
said.
applicant just said.
I can hear him. I can hear a word he was saying.
I apologize. Yes, please.
Okay, all right. So during the zoning board meeting, no one asked the question, what do they need this 7 acres for? I personally find it very odd that I see this and they need that 7 acres for something. And I'm not sure what that is. I don't even know if I'm sure they know what they need it for. But I just find it very odd and the question was never asked.
The applicant's here.
So the split was made, I don't know.
Hold on, Mr. Chairman, if we could just have public, the reason is we may not be, we want to make sure we capture anything Mr. Fowler says. So if you just let with permission, you let Mrs. Harrington finish her question. I'll keep some notes so we don't forget, and then if the board wants to give Mr. Fowler an opportunity to respond, that would be totally appropriate. I just don't want to make sure we lose the public record.
Okay, so I'm just curious, what do they need this 7 acres for? And since they haven't made an application, I would assume that we don't have 100% tax abatement working out right now on this, right? Do you know anything about that?
That's correct. No tax abatement has been
Okay.
suggested to the township at this time.
Okay, so if Amazon is looking to expand further into Jerome Township, then they need to come in under our TIF and also provide their fair share on infrastructure improvements needed for this facility. And I say that because of the 100% tax abatements and things that are going on, but I know it doesn't have any bearing on here, I just got to put it out there because Amazon is not a good neighbor, has not been a good neighbor to residents in this township. So that's why my concern is, why do they need this 7 acres? It's very odd to me because they have all this and then they want this 7 acres. What are they going to impose on us this time? Who's going to do their homework on it?
Mrs. Harrington, I couldn't agree with you more about the TIF and the tax abatement. Thank you for making these points.
Well, has your board met yet to discuss these things?
The cooperative board did have an organizational meeting, and this topic was not brought forward because this hasn't happened yet. But all tax abatements will go through cooperative.
Hillary sits on the board. I mean,
So
go
I'm
back
the
to
chair of the board until the end of the year. That is
You're chair of the board?
currently to the end of the year, then it switches to the county being the chair. So I don't know who that would be. Currently it's Dave Berg, Tom McCarthy, myself, and Brandon.
Okay, so there's 2 of you.
So the organizational meeting,
But get us some money from Amazon, right? We're not going to keep giving them a free ride in this township?
that's one of the reasons, as you know, that we separated from that EDIP.
Pardon me?
That's one of the reasons the township separated from the EDIP
Oh,
earlier in the year,
yeah.
as you know. One of many reasons, but we can't vote on tax abatement information, as you know, which is unfortunate, that it can't be included in our determination. But I
just
am
want
with
that to
you.
go on
I am
record
with you.
for the tax abatement deal, and then on record, that's not sitting good with me. I don't know what it is. Maybe it's because I'm so impacted by these Amazons, and I've got so much information in my brain about the impact that they bring to us, that when I see that, I'm like, okay, now what do they want? What kind of impact are they going to put on us in this township? What are they going to get for nothing again? And how big, how severe is that impact going to be, I guess? So, and I got 7 reasons here why we should watch out for Amazon, but you guys should do your due diligence, do your homework, and figure it out. And I'd like to know why they need that 7 acres. I mean, what is the purpose? I mean, why? It's just a little parcel. But It just doesn't sit right with me. I'm sorry, but it just doesn't sit
Can
right.
I ask you a question? With your questions and the due diligence that you're speaking of, have you brought that forward to the comprehensive plan meetings where that could be translated or included into any kind of regulations involved
Well,
in the edits?
no, I wasn't given that opportunity. I missed 2 of the 5 meetings, okay? And then when we would meet in those meetings, they would go off on, different things in there. And honestly, I wasn't given that opportunity.
I encourage you to submit those to the board or to Eric to bring to us so that when we are,
Well, I'll come before this board when the comprehensive plan,
but I would love to
comes
see
before
what you
guys.
have in mind in advance
For Amazon buildings?
for regulation around data centers, if you have.
Well, if you guys don't know by now,
I'm
I
asking
can't-
because you
I
have a
can't
list
tell
and I
you.
would love to see your list.
okay. All right, thank
And
you.
it's my understanding that comments are still open to the MKSK.
With regard to the comprehensive plan update project, which is not a consideration for this particular rezoning, but the website is still active, and the case, or the draft plan is still before the zoning commission.
So nothing was ever brought up in a public setting when I was sitting there about how to, where to house these things. We never took sections out of the comprehensive plan and kind of, talked about them individually to try to figure out, does it belong here? And why are the reasons why we wouldn't want it here? The big corporations or, any type of, building that has these big fans going and.
Right, like it should be against the highway.
Right, we never discussed that, no, we never discussed anything like that. So,
Thank you for your time. Would the applicant like to come up and address the question regarding the 7 acres, the need for that additional 7 acres?
I'm sorry, I'm all weary.
Yeah, someone had a party, and I know folks work to try to clean up, but, Brandon, he just, his sequin dresses are just.
Yeah, that was that vest you were wearing the other day.
So I guess I'll start by saying, I am not privy to any conversation by any sort of tax abatement. I'm not aware of my client seeking anything insight for that, so I can't provide any additional insight for that. As far as the 7 acres, I frankly, I don't actually know the history of how the split line was determined. They sought to, I think, split 9 acres off these 2 tracks over there. It happened to be, that's where they started the line, including that portion of residential. I know that what they're planning to fit within the conversation as well, and incorporate the overall additional residential portion. To the added benefit that they can provide additional buffering and screening, provide additional space. The intent is to still pull the buildings as far away from residential as possible, as close to industrial as possible.
What about your noise mitigation? What's happening with those big cooling fans running 24/7? What are you guys gonna do about those?
We are subject to providing a noise study to the township for review and approval, that's my understanding.
Do you turn off the other fans? Do you guys, when you do the noise study, would you turn off the other fans from the other 10 Amazon buildings that are sitting out there and turn those off and then do your noise study? Or do you do the noise study with the fans already running?
I don't think he works for Amazon is the problem.
Oh,
So
never mind.
I do not work for Amazon, and the tenant is not Amazon either. So
Oh, a data center, whatever type of data center do they have? Well, you would know. For noise and light pollution.
I don't perform noise study, I'm subject to provide zoning resolution standards.
Just as a side note, if you would like to speak with Mr. Snowden after the meeting, there is an update regarding the noise situation and to include some of the concerned citizens.
I'm not going to bless you with my presence through the entire meeting this evening. I'm going to let you guys
Well, Mr. Snowden, will you make a point and to follow up?
Sure, absolutely. We'll connect in the next few days by phone if you're able to do that. And we can give you an update on those zoning complaints. Again, that's not although it is dealing with similar land use, it's not a subject of this particular case.
Correct.
But we have been working with the folks that were subject to those complaints. Mr. Stanley and I met with them and conveyed the gist of that. But let's you and I meet by phone and discuss that. It's literally happening within the last couple of days. So it's not a matter of something I could have even brought to you with all the preparations for tonight.
I was just waiting on that email from you to tell me that you talked to someone, but that'd be great, I'll talk to you.
We'll follow up. We'll follow up with you in regards to that.
Okay, appreciate that.
Thank you. Any other questions for the applicants? Thank you. Thank you very much.
Mr. Adler and other members of the board has essentially three options. The board could pass a resolution basically approving the case, which is accepting the zoning commission's recommendation, denying the case, or the board could pass a motion to close the hearing. The board would have to render a decision at its next meeting. I did sit down and count. That is possible, but again, that's the options that the board has. And so I believe Mr. Adler has at least one of the resolutions is in front.
Thoughts? Need to continue?
That wouldn't be a continuance.
I mean,
what I said, you could close the hearing if you would so choose.
Should make the motion and we can vote. Okay, I'd like to move a resolution to render a decision on a proposed amendment to the zoning resolution and official zoning map of Jerome Township, Union County, Ohio, for case number Z24003. Do I have a second?
Oh, I want to read that little section down at the, this little section.
Oh. Okay, the recommendation of the Jerome Township Zoning Commission to approve this proposed amendment to the official zoning map be and hereby is approved by the board, therefore approving the application. So the vote is yes to approve this application or no not to.
Second.
Roll call?
Mr. Adler?
Yes.
Ms. Davis?
Yes.
Mr. Pratt?
Yes. Which one? Goodberry?
Mr. Fowler, we will provide you with a copy of that resolution as a matter of
Like
law.
to sign before I adjourn.
If no referendum petitions are filed, it will take effect in 30 days. And then the map.
What kind of a neat pen is that, I heard?
We'll provide you a copy of that.
Pocket pen.
Oh, yeah?
And we'll give you a call as soon as possible.
I appreciate that, thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Oh my gosh, my name's on top this time.
The time is now 7:25 p.m. I'd like to make a motion to adjourn the public hearing.
Second.
Public hearing is adjourned. Thank you. Just on top of me? Okay, anybody need a break before we get started?
Just a couple minutes for us to finish the paperwork.
Brandon, I noticed that our light for the flag is working, but for some reason it's not getting the flag out.
Out here?
Yeah.
Okay.
I went out there to look and I thought, why try to move it? And I thought, well, probably ought to just show you.
Yeah.
And I realized that's locked out, so.
Okay, I'll take a peek. I'm here early enough in the morning, it's so
Okay,
dark.
just, well, Vincent and those guys drive by it every morning. They should have noticed. Or would have, they probably would have noticed too. The front of the building looks great. It's not, got some light on it.
Yeah.
It's not too much.
Yeah.
You know, it's like just enough,
Yeah.
but, I thought the flag light was out, but it's on, just isn't making it.
I might also check on the lights on Flagpole's corner because I know a couple of years ago one of the lights burned out. It's been probably a couple of years since we changed the bulbs.
Monument?
Yeah.
Okay.
While you're checking things.
Look at this stack of checks.
Okay. The time is 7:27. I'd like to call to order the regular meeting of the Board of Trustees for December 17th, 2024. Roll call.
Mr. Adler?
Present.
Ms. Davis?
Present.
Mr. Kraft?
Present.
Let's all rise for the pledge, please. I pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay. Mr. Stanley, I think there were a couple additions to the agenda that came up today.
I was just going to put it under my report,
Okay,
unless you want me to list them.
that's fine. Any other modifications or changes to the agenda?
Yeah, anything? No.
I'd like to move that we accept the agenda as presented.
Second?
Roll call, please.
Mr. Adler?
Yes.
Ms. Davis?
Yes.
Mr. Kraft?
Yes.
Okay. Thank you. Next on the agenda is our fiscal officer report and approval of warrants. First, Mr. Caldwell, would you like to do the presentation?
First, we have the minutes. We have the minutes of the regular meeting of October 15th, the special meeting of November 6th, the regular meeting of November 6th, the regular meeting of November 19th, and the regular meeting of December 3rd.
Since some of the trustees were not in attendance, do we need to vote on these individually?
No,
remember what we
actually, it's
missed.
just a yay or nay kind of
Sure.
You missed the first one.
approval.
Are there any changes or additions to the minutes? I might point out there were a couple typos that I had.
December 3rd.
December 3rd. And adjusted. Any other changes or questions about all these minutes?
Yeah, we didn't have any changes. I thought there may have been one meeting that I was unable to attend. I can't
Yeah.
remember when it was.
Yeah, and there's one that
Oh,
Mrs.
oh,
Davis
you're
was
saying-
unable
I mean, I
to
just
attend.
didn't want to
But
approve.
I
a
just
minute.
asked Robert if he
Okay.
could
It's
approve.
really
Okay.
all in
Second,
favor, yay,
yeah.
any opposed,
Yep.
nay, and
All in favor of approving the minutes?
Yay.
Yay.
any noes?
Any noes?
It passed. Yeah,
All right.
can't do that one. Yeah.
Fair
Approval-
enough.
Approval of the warrants, there are the warrants, per your pending warrants report. There are 45214 through 45253, and 94147 through 94151.
I move that we approve the warrants.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Mr. Adler?
Yes?
Ms. Davis?
Yes.
Mr. Kraft?
Yes.
The other item I have is each of you should have a revised temporary budget for 2025. No significant changes from the previous one you received, other than the actuals for 2024 were updated through December 15th. The big, if you're looking at some big negative balances as far as excess of revenue or expenditures, you'll see that the road and bridge has a almost $1.9 million deficit. That is for the construction of the new garage. The $1.7 million of bond revenue was received in 2024. And then the $525,000 in the fire district is the tanker that is proposed to be paid for in 2025. And then the $570,000 expenditure of the coronavirus local fiscal recovery fund money is to pay for the ladder truck. partial. The rest will come from Drone Village contributions.
And on discussion, we also mentioned that some of the other deficits were due to the tanker truck.
Yep,
coming on board too.
you indicated the tanker truck, that's the 525. Vince has requested approximately $450,000 for road maintenance repairs, but no, estimates or quotes have been obtained from the engineer's office as of yet. Some of these numbers will change if we have not received invoices from the Union County engineer for 2024 work thus far, or the contractor that performed the work. So some of these numbers, the beginning balance for 2025 could increase, and then the appropriation amount would also increase, resulting in the same ending balance. Passing a temporary budget at this time because our organizational meeting is not scheduled until January 7th, so we can have a budget beginning in January to work from, but looking to do final certificate of estimated resources and appropriations at the organizational meeting. I know that Franklin County just received the full rates from the Department of Taxation today. So I know we're kind of first in line of the counties to get the rates. So Union County is still waiting on theirs before the auditor can provide us any levy estimate numbers.
Yeah. So we can approve the temporary budget and make a change at organizational meeting if we see something
we
you
need
want.
a motion to make our organizational meeting the first meeting in January.
Doesn't need to be a motion. I mean, it's just a schedule. I know I've approved the ad. I don't know that it's been placed in the paper yet.
So, so I move that we approve the temporary budget as presented for fiscal year 2025.
Second.
Before we do the roll call, I just want to commend Mr. Caldwell on all his work that's been put into this, because I went over in great detail a lot of the different categories, and he really does an excellent job of tracking things and trying to put things where they need to be, and I think that we're very fortunate to have him as our fiscal officer.
That's second. I was going to say, I told Robert, when he's done, I'm done. So I hope he's not ready to punch out anytime soon, but,
Okay, roll call, please.
Mr. Adder?
Yes.
Ms. Davis?
Yes.
Mr. Kraft?
yes.
Anything further?
No. That's good.
Okay. We're ready to move on to public participation. At this time, I do not have anybody on the list. Is there anyone in the audience that would like to speak to the public? So please come to the podium, state your name and address. If not, we're going to move on to, we'll skip over the public safety officers since they're not here at this time, and we're ready to try to move into an executive session. I move to enter into executive session pursuant to the Ohio Revised Code 121.22G1 for the purpose of considering the employment of a public employee or official. Do I have a second?
Second.
Roll call, please.
Mr. Adler?
Yes.
Ms. Davis?
Yes.
Time is,
Kraft?
Mr. Kraft.
Yes.
The time is
before we start, we'll give you another copy of the resolution.
Ready? The time is 8:18 PM. I would like to make a motion to end the executive session.
Second?
Roll call, please.
Mr. Adler?
Yes.
Ms. Davis?
Yes.
Mr. Kraft?
Yes.
Okay, we're going to move along to the administrator report, please. Mr. Stanley.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Adler. The recent weeks, Mr. Caldwell, myself, and Debbie have put in a lot of time and effort on making some year-end revisions to the personnel policies and procedures manual, also known as the handbook, employee handbook. I've sent the latest revisions to you for review. A lot of it was cleaning up some older language that just no longer fits. So we amended the hiring policy that would basically go step by step of the way we've been doing it since I've been here. The older version, if you recall, had a lot of responsibilities that the board was tasked with that really there was no need for you to be involved to that level anymore, since there's an administrator here to take that off your hands. So we cleaned it up, we made some of those revisions, we reformatted, and I would like to ask that you approve our changes. If you haven't had time to review it, you want to make some additional time to take, that's fine too. We can do it at the January 7th meeting, but I'd really like to get it, and if you do adopt it, I'd kind of like to get it effective Monday, December 30th, which allows us time for the department heads to review it and get the procedure in place to return the sign-off sheets to the office, if that's okay.
Where are you at with this, Barry?
Well, I have worked pretty closely with Brandon and Robert on some of these revisions, and I actually had a chance to read through it late this afternoon, and I feel like that they made almost all the changes that I was concerned with. There are still a few minor typos and dates on the document and things like that that need to be cleaned up, but with those modifications, I'm comfortable with it at this point.
Yeah.
Any questions that you guys have about it?
My experience with employee handbooks is that as close to perfect as you get them, then they're never quite, there's always work to be done. So I'd like to move that we accept the handbook revisions as presented with a December 30th, 2024 start date.
Second?
Roll call?
Mr. Adler?
Yes.
Ms. Davis?
Yes.
Mr. Kraft?
Yes.
Next on my list, the road department building project that's been worked on now for months, the design phase, the permitting, the application for the building department of Union County. They've reviewed everything, it's been approved. We are working with legal. We've done that step to get the bid packet together. We're now ready to ask the board to approve me to work on the calendar, set the dates, and I'd like to get your permission to move forward with the bid process, which includes, by the way, the ad has to run once a week for 3 weeks once this process starts. And I shot you out an email earlier today with some proposal of if that goes as planned this week, and we can get it to the newspaper and it gets posted. It just starts from then, and then the next time that we would come back to you, of course I'll give you updates, but pretty much would be after all of the bids have been received. They have to be scored using a scoring sheet. There'll be an internal committee doing that. And then the next step would be then we ultimately select a contractor. we would bring that name to you and the board has to approve it. Then we would have to enter in, eventually into a contract with that vendor to do the work. So there's several steps yet to go.
I just want to verify, I know it came up late in the process about the fire alarms.
Yes, we are adding the fire alarm
Is
system.
that being added into the?
It is, yes. Yep.
Just checking again with Robert, we are sufficiently funded. The bonding.
Yep.
So I'd like to make a motion to designate Mr. Stanley, our township administrator, to finalize the bidding process. And is there anything else that we need
No.
to designate him to finalize it?
Which would include getting the ad posted and that, those.
Which would include all the procedures necessary to set the bid in motion.
Okay.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Mr. Adler?
Yes.
Ms. Davis?
Yes.
Mr. Kraft?
Yes.
Mr. Adler, did you want me to talk about the late afternoon email on the asphalt paving work? 42 North with Union County
What do you
Engineer?
mean, the detour?
The detour.
Yeah, I think so, because he wanted a decision tonight,
Yes.
actually, so.
So we received you gonna grab that, Eric?
Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you. We received some information today that, for review, it came from a third party first, and then the Union County Engineer, Mr. Stouch, also sent the same for our review. You probably didn't have time. I'll be lucky if you did have time to review it, but basically what they're offering is that they're gonna be working on 42 towards Delaware, and they're gonna be doing some paving work. It's gonna be shut down for over 400 days once the work starts. There'll be detours, and some of which is gonna force traffic to reroute onto township roads. So Mr. Adler had asked some questions back and forth this afternoon. He may be able to share a little bit of that, but I apologize.
You're fine,
for
Chief.
dropping that on you.
Chief or Mr. Adler, would you like me to bring up the set of plans just so you can look at what's?
If you got him.
Okay, I do, sir. I do.
Wow, 400 days is a long time.
437 days, actually, was on there.
Are we talking 5 lanes from Industrial Parkway to Delaware? I mean,
I think you got it on your, Mr. Snowden's going to show this.
Just bear with me here, it's an extremely large file, so hopefully
Yeah,
I'll
it might
cooperate.
take it a minute to open, but, and there's specific pages that were earmarked for our township, Mill Creek Township. They're just trying to get these authorizations by each board. Again.
ODOT's doing the paving, is that right?
Correct. They
I mean,
may,
or they're,
ODOT's working in cooperation.
they may have a
Contractor.
subcontractor.
Right,
do the paving.
Correct.
They would be contracted. In fact, it's actually the subcontractor.
no,
provided
this is a
this
paper copy, I have the plans, all right, so let me see if I can get this to cooperate with me. It's only 430 some odd pages of plans, but it does show the detour. There are 3 sections of pavement. Section 1 and 2 are in Union County, and Jerome Township is affected. Section 3 is primarily in Delaware. Don't try to read all this, you'll go blind.
Well, that wasn't even in the document that he sent.
It was not, but Brandon and I had to dig around and get the actual plans. But let me just show you the detour pages. They're right here.
Hand deliver while you're finding it.
Yes, sir. Okay, so here's the project
I've got
scope.
this. Oh, do you want to give it?
Yep.
This is the project scope, so this is 33 and 42. This is section 1, this is section 2, this is section 3. My understanding is they're to be done in that order, but again, that's up to them. This is section 1, so what they're proposing is to detour folks from 42 along Harriet to Watkins, California, and then down to the corner at 42. Those are all county roads. With regard to section 2, and I believe this is why they're requesting the board act in this case. and showing the, traffic control. This is section 2, this is 42, this is Watkins Road. What they're proposing is to then detour folks down Bell Road, and Bell Road here is Mill Creek Township Road, and I believe Bell Road here is a Jerome Township Road. So I believe that's why they're asking the board. The further section is in Delaware. So if the board wants to act, we would just need the board to just approve the agreement and authorize Mr. Adler to sign. They want a trustee to sign. We can follow up if there's more questions.
That's just for one part of it. There's other, what I'm looking at is a detour map for going Industrial Parkway south. That was when I had the concern.
I didn't receive that in the plans, but we just got them this morning.
Well, this is 4:45 PM today that I got this one.
Are we talking about the same thing? Because this is for the paving project. Are you talking about
I'm talking about the Industrial Parkway and 42 intersection.
Oh,
That's not what we're talking about here.
no, this is a different project.
So you would,
Well, this is the one that he wanted us to make a decision on today.
oh, okay, well, you could, this is a different one?
Detour need determination report.
So these are two different things. The board can certainly act to do both.
Okay.
I don't have a
Maybe
set, I
have
don't
Eric
have
take a look at
those
that
set
real
plans.
quick. See-
Yeah, we're not familiar with that.
Have Eric and
with
Brandon
respect.
take a look at that.
We don't
I'm
know
not
what
sure
we're
I know
doing.
You
what
didn't
this
open
is.
that one on
I'm not sure I
445?
know what this one is. I
Okay.
apologize.
That's
Yeah.
the one I have heartburn with.
So
This-
we've
this
been
is not-
waiting for Industrial Parkway and 42 for ODOT to improve that intersection. And this actually is happening before our improvements. And I'm just like to talk a minute about, they're gonna close 42 down for 400 days and put more pressure on that.
Well,
Industrial.
I think that Eric, do you have the dates on this one? Is this one going to occur prior to the Industrial Parkway?
Mr. Adler,
42 intersection.
it's two different projects, Mr. Adler. I would have to talk to the project manager. We'd be happy to do that, but I don't have those answers for you this evening. I'm really sorry. Common sense would say they would be coordinated with the district office. Brandon and I can look into that, but I couldn't say more than that.
I was just concerned.
I've never been asked by ODOT or something, so I guess.
Well, they're asking because the detour will impact our township roads. And
And the agreement just
in
says
the
that we're okay
agreement,
with
well,
it, or that
the
they'll
way
fix
Jeff
the
put it
roads?
is if we don't agree to do this, then they may not have to repair those roads afterwards.
Mhm.
Correct.
So by agreeing to this, they will put them back in the condition that they were prior to construction.
That is correct. So these are two separate things. The question is, does the board want to act on either one of them? Regarding this, Brandon and I can look at this. I think the reality is no matter what happens here, there's going to be a lot of unhappy folks. On the other hand, everybody wants the project done. So I think the board has to find a balance here with these things. I don't have any, I don't have a good, we can certainly follow up and get more information on either one. But like I said, this is the first time I'm seeing this one, but again, common sense would say, how else do they keep the people?
You got that from an email from Jeff directly to you?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, my fault.
Yeah,
I
to you,
misspoke.
Brandon. Yeah.
So when I looked down, I thought it was the same attachment that Eric and I were working on earlier today regarding the paving project on 42 North, which is what Eric is showing you
Yes.
here.
Yeah.
That one is also pending. That one was sent earlier today, and you guys got it. I forwarded it to you. Earlier today.
I didn't see the one that Eric's talking about.
I'm trying to
So,
find the
yeah,
gentleman's name.
Okay.
This was JMH Engineering, so the paving project, JMT Engineering.
That's correct, thank you. And I'll just read you. JMT is working with ODOT District 6 for designing upgrades to US 42 in Union County. As a part of the construction, there will be detours that will utilize county and township roads. As part of this, we have to get a detour agreement signed by the local agencies in ODOT. The project will utilize township roads in Jerome Township. We have coordinated with the Union County engineer and they have signed the agreement. and now we are working on getting the signatures from the townships. I have included a link to the latest plan, which is what you're looking at on the screens right now. And then he just said you can send and sign and send them back when we're done. So again,
My concern, I'm going to read directly what Jeff wrote me.
so this is a different one you're reading.
Yes, the one that I just handed you, but he says, you don't have to sign it, but if you don't, you would likely be turning down repairs for that road street that would be on the contracts done.
That makes sense.
Hopefully, the contractor can finish inside of the 400-plus days, but they have to take their best guess of duration.
So Jeff's saying 400 days on a different project or the
No,
same thing?
the same, I think it's the same, it's the industrial park, okay, it's the industrial parkway.
Intersection, so we've got the
Intersection.
paving project and the intersection project.
Right.
So,
Two different things.
two different things, so,
Similar number of days, 400 days, you said?
Yes, but I
Brandon
didn't
said
have a
400
start and
days.
end date shown on my documents, and it sounds like you don't have it.
there's
Your
no starter
documents.
end date. The ODOT paving projects usually start like this. If they're doing this now, it would probably start when the weather broke and the asphalt plant's reopened.
And I would guess that they're gonna do that prior to this other one, because they're still hung up with legal filings to get some of the right-of-ways on the intersection. Now,
Yes.
the thing about the intersection is what I saw in the plans is they were gonna detour traffic, Scotts Lawn Road, they're closing off the southbound traffic. Apparently, they're gonna try to keep a lane open for northbound traffic on Industrial Parkway. Southbound, they're gonna cut off at Scotts Lawn Road, direct it down 33 and back on at 161. So that's gonna redirect a lot of traffic out of it. However, for local traffic, there's not gonna mark the detour, but it's gonna be people going through New California Road and through that residential development, and that's the one I had heartburn with. And he confirmed that they were not planning to mark that as a designated detour, but people are gonna take it. There's no way large semi trucks are gonna be able to maneuver through there.
No matter what the board does here, Mr. Allen, or the members of the board, folks are going to be upset. I
Right.
think what the board needs to consider with both of these projects is getting the repair, and, if you want to task Brandon and I to get more detailed information on both projects, we're happy to do that to help spread the word, but I think, the board is not accountable for the project. All the board is ensuring is that the township road is repaired as acceptable.
So basically,
When it's done.
we're behind a rock and a hard spot. We can't determine what they're gonna do.
Mhm.
All we are voting on now is to agree to let them do it to us and repair it when they're done.
That's a good way to put it.
So, hold on here. So the contract that we're asking to agree was written up by the subcontractor that's gonna do the work from ODOT on,
No contracts here, 2 agreements.
Just
Both
agreement.
are agreements with ODOT. They're not
oh,
agreements.
between ODOT and us, not,
And the county.
Correct.
So
Okay.
point of clarification is what.
And Mill
Mike,
Creek also.
If I can add, just real quick. The one that was up on the monitor for the asphalt project paving on 42 towards Delaware, that one, apparently, now that we know this, it has nothing to do with what Trustee Adler's talking about right now. It's totally separate. I was under the understanding that this one was the same that Mr. Stouch had sent us this afternoon. It's not. The one that Barry has is 42 in industrial. This one says nothing about 300 or 400 days. There's no
oh,
time
okay.
associated.
The 400 days is what got me like mixed up.
That one is the one that Barry and I
The
talked about.
intersection is
Correct,
437
correct.
days, and Jeff's comment
My
back
fault.
was that they have to estimate a larger time
Okay.
period than they actually think it's gonna happen, just to cover their behinds, I guess.
Okay.
Yeah, I think we have
Okay.
to, right?
Sure, so,
We have to wait and
so you
see.
look for,
Yeah,
A
is
motion.
is there any reason in your mind at this point why we should not agree to this? Other than we don't like the detour, but we can't have a say-so in it.
No, only Mr. Adler, if you would let me make a photocopy of that, because again, I'm a paperwork person, so I want to have the paperwork. The motion would just, the board could do it in one motion or in 2 separate motions, one for each project. And again, the motion would just be to accept the agreements and authorize the chair to sign the, or to sign the agreements. That's the motion.
You guys comfortable with that, or?
Yeah, I would do it, I just don't know what to call it, so.
Yeah, well, I can make the motion here. Okay. Well, I'd like to do this as two separate motions, since they're two separate agreements that we'll be signing. The first, I'd like to make a motion that we agree to sign the agreement, understanding covering the maintenance of local roads for local detour purposes for the improvement of State Route 42, Section 4.92 in Jerome and Mill Creek Townships, Union County. We're signing this with the Ohio Department of Transportation and in conjunction with the county and Mill Creek Township, signing this agreement.
The chairperson.
Yeah, the chairperson
Yourself.
would be designated to sign this.
Second?
Roll call?
Mr. Adler?
Yes.
Ms. Davis?
Yes.
Mr. Kraft?
Yes.
I'd like to also make a motion to do the similar agreement covering the maintenance of local roads for local detour purposes regarding project 42-3.91, beginning US 42, beginning just west of Monterey Drive and continuing through Industrial Parkway, and the US 33 interchange ending just east of Watkins, California Road. And to designate that the chair sign this agreement in coordination with Ohio Department of Transportation, also being signed by Union County and Mill Creek. Well, I don't think Mill Creek's a part of this one.
Second?
Roll call.
Mr. Adler?
Yes.
Ms. Davis?
Yes.
Mr. Kraft?
Yes.
Okay, and just, here's this. Eric was gonna make copies of it. I'm gonna make copies after I sign it.
I'll bring it back. We'll make a sign copy.
You want me to sign this one?
I don't know, we got a lot of them, it's kind of hard to find people sometimes, but.
All right.
And then just wrapping up, Mr. Adler, you should, actually, I don't know that I saw a road report. The staff today, I can assure you, was busy. We did get the new logos on our trucks finally with the new brand. They look really, really good. So the community will see the new logo on the side of our road department trucks now. They were out getting the salt from the recent use off of all of them, washing them up today, routine maintenance there, and cleaning out the garage. Fire department was very busy today. I don't know how many runs they had, but we know they were up and down industrial a lot, so that's not good either. It's just a busy time of year. We just encourage everybody to slow down, especially on Industrial Parkway. Speed through here is an ongoing concern, and on a lot of our other roadways as well. And then while Mr. Snowden's coming back from running his across the hall, the comp plan, as you know, is still with the zoning commission. That's coming up again, and you know, I would just encourage anyone in the community, as our resident earlier expressed some thoughts. This has been going on for months and months, and we've tried to get the community to engage. We've given multiple opportunities to engage, and I think we're just at that point where we certainly want the community's input, but we're also winding this down. So I would really truly ask if anyone that's listening to this or sees it later, if you have any last minute comments, please get those to us on the website. You can access the township's website. There's a tab there that you click for comprehensive plan. That will reroute you, and eventually you end up on the format where you can leave your remarks. That is the best and easiest way to get your remarks, but please have that done, preferably by the end of this week. But if you cannot do it, please have it no later than the middle of next week. So I know we're running out of time with the holidays as well, but we're really trying to get this to be the best output that we can. And we continue to make little tweaks and minor corrections, but it is starting to come together. It looks really good in the versions we've seen. And again, I think down to an individual, is it going to be a perfect document? The answer is no. This type of a voluminous type of effort on a comp plan, there is absolutely no way that we're going to make everybody happy. There's just no way. So what this committee has done, Eric's team has done, the group of citizens that worked on it, and the steering committee, off and on for weeks and weeks, and then especially MKSK's work, it has slowed at times, and then it'll pick back up. And the reason for that is that they're reviewing comments as we continue to get comments in. So it takes time to go back and see if we need to change something or not. So, collectively, what they have done, in my opinion, of a really good job, and I think Eric could talk to this if needed, but I'll summarize it like this. If you can imagine taking our whole population, having people speaking about density, having people talk about traffic, having people talk about parks and so on, and then having people that don't agree with all of those opinions, MKSK has done the impossible task of weeding that out, but also grouping it so they can find consistency. That's how a project like this has to come together in the end. And in my opinion, that is the only way you can do it. Listening, letting people weigh in, and then making notes. Okay, hey, we've heard that 25 times. That is important. We know that. We're going to address that here. And they've done just that, as far as I can tell. So I think as we cross these last few steps that are so important to get this back to the board, that's my urge to the public one more time, is to please treat this urgently. We're down to the finish line. The longer we push this off, it's going to cost more money to MKSK to finish this project. We're about tapped out again because we continue to ask them to do these other tweaks and things. So it's important to get this done. I just beg the community, if you want your voices heard, use that online platform. That is it. Or if you would like a question or answer session, you can certainly try to schedule a face-to-face with Eric or a phone call. We'll do that. It's not too late for that, but it's the time. It really is the time. So that's my advice for the community, and that ends my report.
And ultimately, the comprehensive, thank you.
Yes.
Ultimately, the comprehensive plan's a guide. It's not an end-all to anything. The zoning commission makes recommendations to the board, and ultimately the trustees have to decide on many things. But
Did you want to bring up the public information officer question at this point?
Sure, I can at least mention it. Thank you for reminding me. So the training that Mr. Adler attended earlier this year, I think it was a FEMA course that elected officials can attend if they want to. I've got a full background in that. In my prior role, I've been through a lot of levels of that for incident command and so on. But one of the things that I think came about really back when the tornado hit Lakeview, the train derailment in southern Ohio and so on, there just tends to be some national and local and state events that makes you wonder, if we were to unfortunately have an emergency of that kind of type in Union County, but specifically here in Jerome, what steps, what preparation, and we've already done a lot of that. The fire department has done a ton of work in this area already. But one thing is, who would be your public information officer? It's encouraged that you have one, and then if a township doesn't, then we would likely just defer to the Union County EMA. They have multiple trained people, but I believe Mr. Adler has suggested that perhaps that become the role of the township administrator, at least initially. And then if the task becomes overwhelming, then of course we're going to be calling. And at that point, the EMA is going to be here anyway, offering assistance would be my guess. So it's just something to put in front of the board. Do you want to appoint the township administrator as the public information officer for the township? That's the question.
I would be in favor of that, also given your background.
And I just wanted to avoid confusion at the time if an incident happens. The chairman step up to talk to the public. Would the fire chief step up, or should the township administrator? If we have somebody designated that that's their role, that would help clarify things.
Yeah, I mean, looking at our organizational chart, the administrator would be the logical person.
I agree.
And given that as trustees, we have a limited 4-year term, this would at least, as long as you are here more than 4 years, would be a continuing role to have. So.
Okay.
Well, I'd like to make a motion then to designate our township administrator as our public information officer in the event of an emergency situation that warrants such a role.
Second.
Roll call?
Mr. Adler?
Yes.
Ms. Davis?
Yes.
Mr. Kraft?
Yes.
Is there
That's all I have.
anything additional from the fire department?
No, not at this time. I didn't see any addition.
Okay, number 11, I wanted to keep an Eric around. We have the township hall easement proposal, and you want to hand it off to Eric? Or
Well, I can go over it really
Go ahead,
quick.
Chief.
This is the one that's been pending with the Curry Farm force main project out here, out front. And we negotiated, and what's in front of you, I believe.
Mr. Stanley, Mr. Adler, other members of the board, Mr. Caldwell has the 2 resolutions here. There are 2 different lots of record that the township owns, and so Ms. Donnan stated we need to pass 2 resolutions. The first one on top is for the township hall property. The second one is for what was used to be called the Younger property, basically where the barn is. So there are 2 resolutions. The motion is just simply, for each one, is just like, this is the resolution regarding the easement. I move to adopt as presented. And the resolutions designate Mr. Stanley to be the designated person, sign the notarized documents and all that good stuff, but that's what legal crafted to accomplish this.
I did have a concern expressed earlier today that in our initial discussions, it talked about boring underneath the driveway and actually the whole length of the project, and I did not see that in the contract agreement.
Yeah, and
I don't want to proceed if that's not going to be included.
Right, and we can make that contingent on, is that correct?
The easement,
The easement allows them to cut down trees, to do whatever they want with a 10-foot swath. going down.
so Ms. Donnan had, sorry, Mr.
Go ahead.
Ms. Donnan has accounted for this. So in the resolution, it allows that body, that middle paragraph that Mr. Caldwell is looking at right now, basically says that he can make adjustments with regard to the easement to, I'd have to read the exact word, but there's some flexibility built into this. So if that's, the board wants to include that, they're still covered, and we would just work tomorrow to modify this before Brandon signs it. But, I don't know if that was, Chief, did we convey that to the folks requesting the easement?
They're the ones who made the offer.
Okay, so we're probably
but,
fine.
Yeah, we had some problems with the organization on their end today. Communication was not the best, so we ended up in the office and took care of some of this to get prepared for tonight. So,
My understanding is that the board passes the resolution, they could just pass the resolution with the understanding that you want these to be board. And Brandon and I will work to revise the background documents to address that.
that way we don't have to revisit it next meeting. And then,
Okay, well, I also, not to be bored, and that we're not authorizing them to cut down any trees either.
Okay, we can address that.
yeah,
That's not a problem.
yeah.
Guys, any other questions or concerns? You want to give me the resolutions? Go ahead. We've got two resolutions here, and I move to authorize the adoption and execution of the sanitary sewer easement for parcel number 1500080090000, with the modification that we require boring and no damage to existing plant materials. Do I have a second?
Are we authorizing
And,
agreement to sign the agreement, or?
And we're authorizing our township administrator to be designated as the authorizing agent to work out the details of the agreement. Do I have a second?
Second.
Roll call?
Ms. Stradler?
Yes.
Ms. Davis?
Yes.
Mr. Kraft?
Yes.
I would like to also move to authorize the adoption and execution of the sanitary sewer easement for parcel number 1500800600000, with the modification that it be done, it be bored and no damages done to existing plant materials, and authorizing our township administrator, Brandon Stanley, as the designated point person to work out the details of the easement.
Second.
Roll call.
Ms. Stradler?
Yes.
Ms. Davis?
Yes.
Mr. Kraft?
Yes.
I believe we'll have the check tomorrow.
How do they horizontally bore a sanitary sewer? Wouldn't that be giant and buried?
I don't know that that's possible. That's why I was surprised that this was written.
You can bore a sanitary sewer.
Like how,
It's
how
more
big would that
expensive.
line be?
Well, it's gotta be at least
Yeah,
a
it
10-inch
depends.
line.
It depends on.
We got an engineer here.
A 12-incher?
The answer is probably the question, how long is a piece of string?
Oh.
How long does it need to be?
Heard that?
Yeah. How big of a line can you horizontally bore that you've heard of?
It sounded like you were talking about a force main.
It is, yeah.
So if it's a force main, it's not set to a particular degree other than being below frost level. So it can go up and down.
Okay.
The size of the line, I've seen it bore things as large as like 24 inches.
That's a lot of
Mama.
human blood, Mr. Kraft.
Do we only need one?
Shoot a
copy?
person through
One
there.
copy will be fine. Because we're gonna have some more homework. It's these easement agreements that are now gonna have to be modified, so we'll handle that.
Right, that's what I looked at. I didn't see
We got a crack legal team, Barry, working for that deal.
Okay. Since we don't have a public safety officer, I guess I was going to make a mention of a complaint regarding the backup of traffic along Warner Road to the early morning moving through the security gate, and I think that's been communicated to the Sheriff's Department through Mr. Stanley. I want to make you guys aware of that, but traffic is having to go around the backup in both directions and trying to get into the property for construction there on Warner Road of the Amazon property. The other good news to pass along, and I just got this back from Mr. Stouch this afternoon again, regarding the light at Warner Road and Industrial Parkway, that people have noticed that the armature and the equipment has gone up, but they're not quite finished yet. He says, we aren't quite to the finish line yet. The hardware, which was back ordered, came in, so the contractor was able to get the heads installed. We are now just waiting on Union Royal Electric to set the meter to get power to the site. That may happen this week, depending on their schedules. It will not have any left turn arrows or preemption until the temperature controller is switched out with the one we spec'd. That will be after the first of the year, but it's still a nice safety improvement even with the temporary controller. So I wanted to convey that to the community. That's moving forward. Hopefully, maybe this week some flights will be going on, but it's not the finished product yet. They're still going to refine the left turn arrows and all. Okay, let's move along here.
That's pretty exciting news, Barry. Hooray!
It's late.
Hooray!
I'm not.
Yeah,
Hooray!
and Brandon was gonna go out there and start directing traffic again, but it's just, he's had enough, so.
Well, Joe
We
went
got
down
your
the road
whistle on order.
Yeah.
Joe went down the
Yeah.
road and saw the things going up. He called me right away. Did you see this? So, it's coming along. All right, next on our agenda is end of the year staff recognition, and I'd like to just take a few minutes to recognize and appreciate all the work that the township staff has done to serve our residents and businesses throughout the year. As one of the fastest growing townships in the state of Ohio, we have had our share of challenges. We have navigated some choppy waters and have successfully kept the township afloat. I want to share just a quick review of some of the accomplishments from this year, and I know I'm going to probably miss a few, so you guys can chime in a little bit after I'm done here. But in order to more effectively, to work more effectively with the county, the Jerome Township Union County Cooperative Board was formed to help guide this collaboration as we continue to work to upgrade roadways and prioritize projects to accommodate our rapid growth. There has been some turnover in staff, but mostly some new positions were added to the fire department and road department. We also renovated office space and restrooms in the township hall. In addition to adding more residential developments, we continue to focus on business growth to help balance the revenue to better provide for community services with exceptional service from the zoning department. Of course, Eric left when I'm complimenting him. Oh, did you hear that?
You can repeat that again.
Exceptional service from the zoning department, Eric. We're also nearing completion of the revisions to our comp plan. This has involved reaching out to the community and continues to evolve to meet with the township's collective vision for the future. The township partnered with local businesses to have a very successful car and truck show and hope to continue with this effort moving forward. We've made several decisions for major equipment purchases to support our fire department as they continue to provide excellent response and services for public safety and community outreach. We've worked on upgrading road equipment and are about to send out our bids for a new maintenance building to support the continued outstanding work of our road department. The good news is that it feels like the staff is working together to provide for the welfare and safety of our community, and we've done so and kept within our budget. Our administrative staff keeps the works running smoothly and is critical to our success. So, with special thanks also to our fiscal officer who has kept all the expenditures in line, we're able to appreciate all full-time staff this year with a financial bonus. I'd like to make a motion to recognize and appreciate the efforts of our township full-time staff with a $500 one-time year-end bonus. Can I get a second and then provide time for discussion for any additional comments that I missed that your other trustees would like to make before we do the roll call?
Second.
Any additional comments? Things that I missed
On
out?
accomplishments?
Whatever you
Well,
want.
we collected the JED board over $85,000 about total, and that's just the tip of the iceberg. Once we get some more of these commercial projects on board and start collecting the JED board. The co-op, let's go ahead and talk about that.
I think that was his first
Yeah, I mentioned.
comment about the cooperative board.
I was
but-
taking notes, I missed that.
but
It's a
I-
cooperative board, let's
But no,
reiterate
we
that.
can reiterate that.
We
most
settled our
Yeah, that
lawsuit.
was a very important thing.
The lawsuit is, we're done. The
Well,
lawsuit.
that, yeah, the
Or-
case was dismissed,
Dismissed,
and
yes. It's a big deal.
that's a big deal, and we came to a great agreement with the county, very proud of that. But I think that the goal of this board has been to address infrastructure in the township, and I think that we are using every tool possible. And it takes time to see the funds build, but I think that we're starting to see the funds build, and they're being applied appropriately. Great memo, Barry.
Yeah, Barry.
Thank you.
Tried to put together some
You
thoughts.
did a great job.
And
Judy.
I think we all the trustees do appreciate what the staff does, and we want to let you know that. And, hopefully, we'll continue to be working well together.
It's not every year we order a fire truck either. That's a pretty big, that's the biggest check I've ever signed.
I'm proud that was it Barry, but it was this year or last year? We purchased an aerial apparatus, was that last year?
It was last year,
Last year,
actually,
but
for
let's
delivery
roll
at
it.
the end of this
I think
year.
it's not
Without,
much,
without any taxpayer dollars.
That's me.
That's a big deal. Purchasing a ladder truck with no taxpayer dollars.
And then, as far as our budget's concerned, the huge contribution we were able to agree on for the 42 Industrial Parkway interchange, which has been the huge issue for many, many years. So it's big.
Townships are limited in power, and I think that we're doing our best to serve the residents, and very grateful for our staff. So, thanks, everyone.
Did you say about the signage? Did I miss that too? The signs the new signage that we added? Real nice look, and then we adopted the new logo.
Oh, is that this year too?
The new logo, I mean, we're just talking about the truck getting logo.
Right.
Really looks good.
I was thinking that was last year because it took so long to get the backside of
We
the one
adopted
sign
the
converted.
That looked good on the front page. You need a picture of a truck with our logo. Brandon, can you get that? Yeah.
Should be.
Very good. Anything else to add?
No, just thank you, the employees appreciate it, and they feel supported, and, we have a great community that supports us and works very closely with us, and so, no, we appreciate the board and Robert, very generous.
I really enjoyed the Christmas gathering that we had here on Friday the 13th, and thought that was a good time for Brandon actually addressed everybody at the end of the gathering, and I thought you did an excellent job with tying everything in together, keeping everybody informed and on the same page, and letting everybody know how much we appreciate them and the hard work they've done. I think all our departments are great, and just the years that I've been involved with the township, 11 plus years now, wow, it's really come a long way. Back when we were adopting the budget for next year, I was just kind of still a little bewildered from what I looked at in 2014. We didn't have a whole lot to work with. So it's really coming together, and I'm really happy that I'm able to be a part of this.
Brandon's 1-year anniversary.
Yeah.
Moving on to here in the spring. Thank you for being here.
Yep, thank you guys. Thanks for having me.
Well, with that, want to proceed with the roll call on that motion?
Mr. Adler?
Yes.
Ms. Davis?
Yes.
Mr. Pratt?
Yes.
Okay, we got one more item here under new business. Mr. Snowden, would you like to address the appointments of the Board of Zoning Appeals and Zoning Commissions for the year 2025?
Thank you, Mr. Adler, other members of the board. Mr. Adler reminded me that we need to do this. It typically is either done in this meeting or your first meeting in January. There are 3 individuals, 2 on the Zoning Commission, 1 on the BZA, for which would need to be reappointed, and those are listed on the resolutions. If you don't have them, Robert may have the copy there. And the terms are listed on the resolutions. It's Mr. Grabovich for another 5-year term on Zoning Commission. He has agreed to serve. Again, Mr. Newmeyer has agreed to serve another 2-year term on your Township Zoning Commission. Again, so much as you want my opinion, these gentlemen are fabulous to work with. Mr. Gelati has requested to be reappointed and agreed to serve again to a 5-year term on the BZA. And then lastly, as I think you all remember, we have been without a BZA alternate, one of our 2 alternates for a number of months, probably several years at this point. I reached out to a couple folks, met with one person, Mr. Mike Nolan. His resume is available. I met with Mr. Nolan. He agreed to serve, but he was not available to be here tonight because he is a church music director, so Christmas is coming. If the board is comfortable appointing him to a 2-year term on the BZA as an alternate, that's fine. I did meet with him. Brandon and I have interacted with him. We went over the position, like an interview type of thing. If the board would like to get to know him or reach out to him, we can coordinate a time, either in your new be here, or he said you could reach out to him via phone. So that's where we stand. We basically got 3 re-upping with the dates as indicated, and then 1, I'll call him new gentleman, Mr. Nolan. And we do have his resume, Mr. Nolan's resume is in your packet. Debbie copies.
Easy, eh?
Any discussion?
I think the BZA is so important. It's the judicial branch, if you will,
What's that?
of zoning, which means that we don't have a say. And if we're going to appoint someone to a board where we can't ultimately make the final decision, I'd like to know the person.
Yeah.
Everything else I'm fine with.
Yeah, yeah. And I think in the past, sometimes we've had folks that were on the zoning commission and had some experience underneath their
Sure.
thing. We'd move them over to the BZA, and then,
Sure.
if we had someone that was an alternate on BZA, but we had an opening on the zoning commission, we'd move them over there. But,
Sure.
yeah. But as far as
I'm
these
sure he's a
folks,
wonderful person. I just want to know who it is.
That's totally reasonable. Sorry, Mr. Adler, did you want? If it be the will of the board, why don't Brandon and I, between now and your first meeting in January, work to either make Mr. Nolan available either in person at that meeting or via phone, and the board can meet with him as the board, as we've done
He's
before.
been here several times
Yeah,
in the audience.
I've met
You
with
recognize him.
I've met
Mr.
with him
Nolan.
before, yeah.
correct.
That Mr.
White
Nolan.
hair, kind of short. I think you should speak with him, ma'am, if that's your position. I really do think that's a good.
That
good-
Mr. Nolan.
Correct.
Okay. I was thinking, why do I know this name?
Well, so my strategy, again, it's your decision. My strategy when we don't have volunteers has been to just talk to some folks that are doing business here at the township. Mr. Weiser on BZA, for example, was an attorney in Dublin. He was just doing a patio permit. I started talking to him about,
Thank you for jogging my memory. In that case, I'm fine. I know Mr. Nolan well. I don't know if you do.
I've had some discussions with him about the comp plan that he's brought to my
I'm
attention.
very comfortable.
he's certainly invested in the community and attended quite a few meetings that I've seen him.
And I've been impressed that very few people actually read the comp plan.
Right.
He quoted some sections of it, so I felt comfortable with this nomination, but I'm
And
fully
the
aware
fact
that
that
if
we
you want
have
to meet with
people
him.
No.
that are serving currently and willing to serve longer, and we're gonna have that experience on our board, I think that's super.
And this is an alternate
that's super.
position, not a.
You know,
that is correct.
I'm looking at his name going, why do I know his name? Now that you've jogged my memory, I've been to his home. And walked his property when we were going through all of that stuff, so I'm fine.
Okay, well then I'd like to make a motion to accept the nomination of Michael Nolan as an alternate BZA member for a term, 2-year term, is that correct?
Mr. Adler, let me behind you,
Alternate.
please.
The thing to do, sir, would be to go to the resolution itself. So there's Grabovich, there's Jawadi, and here's Mr. Michael Nolan. So the thing to do, sir, would just be to simply say, I move to appoint Michael Nolan being a resident. Just read that section.
Okay, it's gonna-
Hey,
Take your time.
can we do it all in one motion and just say it? and-
No, because, no, ma'am, because
Beginning
the
to end,
because the
yeah.
terms are different.
Okay.
Good.
Let's start with Mr. Nolan. I move that Michael Nolan, being a resident of the unincorporated portion of the township, be appointed as an alternate member of the Township Board of Zoning Appeals for the term ending December 31st, 2026. Do I have a
Second,
Roll call?
when was the term again? Can you say that?
Ending December 31st, 2026. So it's a 2-year term
2 years.
for alternates.
Mr. Adler?
Yes.
Ms. Davis?
Yes.
Mr. Pratt?
Yes.
I move that Aaron Grabovich, being a resident of the unincorporated portion of the township, be appointed as a regular member of the Township Zoning Commission for the term ending December 31st, 2029.
Second.
Roll call?
Mr. Adler?
Yes.
Ms. Davis?
Yes.
Mr. Pratt?
Yes.
And for the record, the 5-year term for the regular members is provided by state law.
I move that Bill Newmeyer, being a resident of the unincorporated portion of the township, be appointed as an alternate member of the Township Zoning Commission for the term ending December 31st, 2026. Do I have a second?
Second.
Roll call, please.
Mr. Adler?
Yes.
Ms. Davis?
Yes.
Mr. Kraft?
Yes.
I further move that Dan Gigliotti,
Gelati, just like the tree.
okay, Gigliotti.
Like the turkey.
Pardon me, Mr. Gigliotti. I should know this name by now. Being a resident of the unincorporated portion of the township, be appointed as a regular member of the Township Board of Zoning Appeals for the term ending December 31st, 2029. Do I have a second?
Second.
Roll call, please.
Mr. Adler?
Yes.
Ms. Davis?
Yes.
Mr. Kraft?
Yes. So the swearing in of these folks, when that occurs?
Liz will coordinate that with the board in the new year, most likely in January.
Yeah, we try to do that in a meeting, and I think the chairman just has to be present.
It could be any trustee, but normally the chair does it. We'll get with the board and deal with that in the beginning.
And I guess since we're not making a motion, but I should announce that our organizational meeting will be the first meeting in January 7th, 7 p.m. here at the Township Hall. The Jerome Township Firefighters Local 355 is having their Christmas toy drive and will be accepting new unwrapped toys until December 20th, 2024 at Station 210, located at 9689 US Highway 42, or Station 211, located at 11840 Ewing Road. The township offices will be closed on Tuesday, December 24th at noon. Will also be closed on Wednesday, December 25th, 2024 for the Christmas holiday, and will reopen on Thursday, December 26th, 2024 at 8 a.m. The township offices also will be closed on Wednesday, January 1st, 2025 for the New Year's holiday, and we will reopen on Thursday, January 2nd, 2025 at 8 a.m. If you would like to receive notifications regarding the Board of Trustees meetings, please email the township office at jerometownship@jerometownship.com. And the last announcement is no longer true because we do have a new alternate for the Board of Zoning.
We're always looking.
But we're always
We're
looking for
looking.
additional people that are interested in participating in the administration of township zoning regulations. And we will put you on the list if somebody is not able to attend or bows out. We would like to have a reserve list, so. Appreciate everybody's time. Sorry we're running a little bit late, Joe, for your bedtime, but
That's my big one.
I'd like to move that we adjourn. Do I have a second?
The time is